Coach Parks, and I transferred over from Dominguez High School in Compton. And similar to what was said earlier, it was the best decision my parents could have made for me. 100%. It was true then, and it's true for a lot of our families now. I can tell you that that sentiment is shared in the hallways today. So, yeah, welcome on this call. Thank you for putting this together. Edison, I know you put a lot of time into making this happen, and for everyone who showed up today. We've got a nice little agenda that'll take us through 11 o'clock, but we're going to open up with prayer, as we always do. So I'm going to go ahead and invite the big boss, Father Travis, to just kick us off with just a quick prayer, and then we're going to jump into statement of sort of purpose for this gathering, and then we'll jump into some information on the Coach Lalo Mendoza Fund. We'll give some school updates, and then open it up for some Q&A, just open forum and have a free flowing conversation. So, Father, if you wouldn't mind, kick us off with a quick prayer.
Sure. Let us bow our heads. God, we give you thanks for today and every day. You are the source of all life and the source of all goodness in our lives. And so, for all the blessings we've experienced, especially for those who have been there for us and been our family, whether blood or not, been there to accompany us and see us through to where we are today, we give thanks to them. We ask for you to bless us, give us the courage to continue pushing forward to make this world a better place and to help us work together and to guide our leadership and wisdom to making Verb the pillar of hope for South Los Angeles. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
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 Thanks, Father. And before we jump into Kiki, I know you're on the call. Welcome. Before we jump into the main topic, which is the Lalo Mendoza Fund, Edison um, encouraged me to give some context to how we got here. And it's really happened in the last few months. And when they say stars align, I mean, this is really what's happened I want to say the last year. Um, and some of that is with Coach Gary Park's application to the football program that really got us excited. But also Father Travis's leadership and openness to wanting to make sure that as the school grows and as we're looking to invest in the school and its facilities and the community, that we use this as an opportunity to bring all of Verbum Dei with us, going back to 1962, and not just looking forward for whoever's around us in the immediate circle. And so, this moment of growth, this moment of investment into the school, combine that with Coach Gary's application to be the head football coach, and that going that direction, combined with some of these other conversations we've had in admissions, and being a little bit more strategic and being more open to alumni and their kids, the stars aligned. And I know we've all heard this, but God's timing is right, and this is what's happened the last few months. So we had an event. Was that February? I feel like it was just yesterday, but what an event! I thought I was going to leave there after about an hour and a half, and I couldn't leave. Just seeing all of y'all just have a blast made me just have a good time. It was an interesting experience. I have the video of you guys giving a nice little send off to the basketball team as they made their way down to J. Sarah. And I saw that and I'm like, these are the things you just can't plan for. These are the things you can't schedule. You can't put on a calendar invite. And that's what happens when you bring people together. So that sort of kicked this relationship off. Now, the goal here is to maintain connection through monthly calls. And through these calls, you all will be better informed about what's happening at the Verb. You'll be informed of the opportunities to get involved. You'll have an opportunity to ask some questions, and we'll have an opportunity to engage you all with some ideas, problems we're trying to solve, hurdles we're trying to go through or go over, and continue to establish a strong connection and trust. So that's the goal. That's sort of what got us here today. Um, Before I open up to questions, I do Just want to acknowledge the work of my colleagues too, of Darius, who's put in a lot of work as well on the communication side to make sure that everyone's informed and that we um, do right by our word. And also Father Travis, who behind the scenes is continuing to um, take into account that we've got an alumni that we're working hand in hand with as we're thinking about different projects on campus, and also just the outreach and Watts. So um, thank you all for being here again. Again, this is the first of what's going to be a monthly thing. Please give us feedback. This is our first stab at this. Um, and I believe the topic we're going to jump into today is the Lalo Mendoza Fund. So I'll go ahead and pass the mic to Father Travis. Um, Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for the invitation to come present. I thought before I get jump right into the Lalo, let me just kind of give you an idea about how the school works and what because this will make the fund make more sense. So, at Verbum Day, our budget's about $8 million a year, $8.5 million a year. And our students generally, our tuition currently is 2,800, although we're raising it. But our students' average pay is $1,200 uh, a year. So that's about 5% of the budget. So, it cost us about $23,000 to educate a student. And I don't think you can get much cheaper without that than sacrificing on the quality. So they pay about $1,200. That's again 5%. So, of 23,000 per student. So that's a lot of resources, especially when you don't have much tuition. So that's where Jesse, the corporate work study program, comes in, covers about 35%, 40, and then we fundraise the rest. So we had a great event Tuesday, Thursday night. We raised a bunch of money for the school. Gary and Darius made the ask. They did a terrific job, and we had some people really step up and give big. And we've had that in the last couple of years. So we're making a lot of momentum on that. So why I say that is because when you're running this school, everything gets, you got to pay teachers, you got to do all this stuff, you got to pay them to get good teachers, you got to pay them better than everybody else pays them, especially other Catholic schools. So what I say that is because everything at Verb for a long time has been taken by the operating expenses, just keeping the lights on and everything like that. We've never been able to invest. And what I see, I don't, when I look at things and think of things, I don't see costs. I see costs and investment differently. So I see investment as you put money down, you pay money and you expect to get a return, where costs, you just give money and it's gone. So, operating a school, that's a cost. That money is going but an investment, if you pay up now, you're going to expect more return on that investment. So that's where the Lalo fund came from. It also came from when I announced, the suspension of the program last year because it just wasn't ran well. Kids were getting hurt. I thought, well, we needed a fund that separates anything that people want to give to, because by law, we have to separate funds, and whatever someone gives money to, I have to spend it on that. And we get audited every year, or we get in big trouble. So I thought we need a fund where if someone wants to give to athletics, it can be separate from the operating, because the temptation is always to take, because you always need money to keep the lights on. So the temptation is to always, it gets shortchanged at the end of the day. So when that happened and the story came out, I knew there were going to be a lot of people who were going to want to help, especially our benefactors. And so I needed a way of restricting that fund to keep those monies separate from just the bigger pot of money. And so I reached out to Kiki, and I knew that, I mean, I didn't know Lalo, but I've heard his name and I knew how much he meant to people. And I thought, well, if we're gonna have like a booster fund, there's probably no better way and who to name it after than the Lalo Mendoza Athletic Fund. And it would be separated from the other funds of the school. And that would be used to raise money with our benefactors. And so that's what we did. I texted Kiki. Kiki was amazing. Said whatever I could do to help, he could do to help the school, and so that's what we've done. We started the Kiki or the Lalo Mendoza Fund, and what that is, and that was to be in there in perpetuity forever. So as long as the school is there, that fund will exist, and that fund will help to fund athletics. So when we did that, we raised, I think, around Darius would know better than I do, around 50,000 or something for that.
Sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And we had some people I asked to put some money towards it. And so that fund so far has been going back almost strictly, although a few training equipment, but to going back and helping rebuild the football program and to give Gary the support he needs. So to date, we bought I had him present to our board and he asked for a flip sled. And so someone, the board member just said, send me the bill and I'll buy the flip sled. So we did that. But we've also bought about $20,000, 20 some $1,000 of equipment. We bought a new 5-man sled, 2-man sled, new tackling dummies and pads and just a bunch of stuff there. So that's where that those funds have been used so far to help Gary and his coaching staff to rebuild. So that's where we are today, and I won't get into the updates. I'll save it for the updates, but I'm happy to answer any questions. But I just wanted to let you know how those funds are raised, and part of it is taxes. People give money because they want the tax break. They'd rather give it to us than to Uncle Sam. That's basically the end of the day. Yeah. Oh, good question. So who will run this fund or who is in charge of the fund? How can we trust this individually? Not this despite, well, as I said, the fund is run, I guess, I don't know anybody, I guess ultimately it'll be run by the president, but or the CFO because we have strict requirements about what we can use it for. So we can use it anything towards athletic if people give to the fund. However, people can make their own restrictions. If they want to give it to, I mean, I don't know, if you want to give it to um, you can make it as tight and as loose as you want, honestly. When you give the gift and you say, I want this for I don't know, a concession stand. I have to use that only for the concession stand or whatever. So I can't, I legally, ultimately the government and the auditors are the ones who tell me how to run it. So I mean, actually, at the end of the day, it's the auditors who who oversee the funds. Because if you are caught, there's huge penalties for that. So that's kind of how it works. So maybe it's best also if I show you. Let me go here. I'm just going to go on the fly here. Um, So, and I'm also open to input to this. So Jesse, do you have it where I can share? Let me see if I can share a screen. Yeah. I can't share my screen. You'll have to let me share a screen.
Do you have the share screen option, Travis?
Let me see here.
If not, I can also.
It says you haven't allowed me to, or whoever's the host.
Hey, Jesse, you're the host. Hit share screen
Oh,
and
am I?
do multiple,
Okay.
multiple at the bottom.
All right. Let's see.
So you gotta have those forensic guys around.
I know.
I don't know if we could do it now, Travis. I've updated that setting.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So let me go here. So this is our landing page where we have it. And so this is our fund here. And it basically says from travel, athletics, nutrition, equipment, all of those things that it takes to. But if you put a message optional and you say, I want this to go to wherever, then I have to legally, I can only use it for those funds. And it sets in an account until those funds are spent. And then at the end of every year, we're required to report that, we go through an audit that I have to go through every year, and that's how the funds are used. So that's who manages the funds.
Thanks, Travis. Everett, I did notice you had a follow-up comment there regarding support for the fund. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yes, for this fund, is any of the Mendoza's family members a part of this fund, or is it just something that you guys created and using his name for help to raise money?
I mean, Kiki, I mean, you're free to choose. And well, the board, there's no board for a fund like this. Technically, it's not its own separate legal entity, so we don't have a board. Um, I don't want to speak too much, but I know I'll just say this is, I'm getting ready to appoint someone I've changed the athletic director position, and there is a posting for that now. And in that position, I've made that person elevated their responsibilities. And so one of the things that they're going to do is oversee this fund. And they are going to hopefully have some sort of collaborative committee, or we could call it a board or whatever, advisory committee, I think we call it. But then that will help guide the strategy moving forward for athletics and the athletic department. But as far as the there's no governing board for the fund. It's not its own separate entity, so we don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thanks a lot for, presenting. I think the transparency is definitely something we appreciate. Really like the fact that Kiki is on to be able to represent the Mendoza family. And one of the things, just kind of just a thought, maybe we can kind of build this out also. I'm thinking, if we think about the name Lalo Mendoza and something that really represents his legacy, that maybe we come up with maybe 3 or 4 pillars that represent like who Lalo was, and it's easier for us to then create a path for us to be able to donate money in a very specific area. One of the things I think that sometimes is overlooked is just his presence as far as being a father figure. And what does that mean? For us, it was taking us to places we probably didn't go with our own parents, to football games, to pizza parlors, to restaurants. And maybe there's a way for us to create like a pillar that represents that. Like, it could be like social, like the social committee or a social pillar, making sure that we go at least once a year. There's opportunities for the students at Verbum Dei to be a part of a mentorship program with alumni that take them to an event, right? So that's a way for if you wanted to donate, but not restricting the fund in a way that if there are opportunities for us to allocate funds for a need, because needs change on a yearly basis, there might be a need for equipment. It might not be a need for equipment. So we don't want to maybe limit ourselves with the possibility that there might be changes from year to year. But I think creating some pillars that represent who he was gives us a better chance of being able to hit the target and really representing the legacy in a way that is representative of who he was and the family's commitment to developing us over the years. So maybe that's something that subcommittee or advisory committee can commit to at least having discussions about. So if someone were to donate money, it can be a part of, okay, do you want it to go to equipment? Do you want it to go to the social engagement fund or other? So leaving that as a possibility so that someone just don't want to just donate it and the committee figures out how they want to allocate it, just give them the freedom and latitude to be able to do that. But I think those pillars are really important because I think it at least takes us out of this. It's all about athletics, and that's the narrative I think that spins a lot, and that's not. He was more of a father figure, a mentor, coach, teacher, and all of that. And I think we need to create vehicles for us to be able to represent that in its truest sense, to be genuine to who he was and be able to do that work to keep the legacy going. So I would just say that maybe the committee could have conversations around that, and maybe put something in place to institutionalize it in the way that we're hitting the target.
Teddy, I want to thank you for that. And that's exactly what hopefully this fund can become because, we had a great alumni gathering, but we want to continue that. We don't want just, we need this consistency. So, it can be a social gathering for having alum back. It can be, a mentor, like a big brother program. And you don't
Right,
just have to donate. I'm not, donate. What's more valuable than money is time.
right.
Everybody's so like time and doing that so that can be used for those kind of events as well. One of the things again in Catholic schools is they're built off their alumni, and that's what we need for Verbum Dei. That's how they're successful. That's how they keep continuing. Anybody who's been a part of a Catholic school, because we don't get government funding, so we have to build the legacy. And so I don't know, Darius, do you want to talk a little bit about it? You and I have been brainstorming a little bit. And I just want to say too is I don't get it right all the time. I'm just trying to make it up as I go and do things in real time. So, I'm a believer is you don't start off with perfection. You just start off with, like skin in the game and you iterate as you go and course correct as you go along. So
No, thanks, Travis. I want to answer Everett's question real quick. I see you have a third question there about what the fund is for, as far as all sports or just football. So it's for all sports. But if someone makes a donation, they have the opportunity to restrict that donation towards, say, football equipment or, new jerseys for the basketball team or whatever the case is, when to help one of the teams travel, something like that. So you can restrict your donation. But the fund itself is primarily, yes, it's for sports, but not just football. Just wanted to answer that for you, Everett. Um, so when we first kind of launched the fund, Travis and Kiki had the opportunity to converse with one another, and we really just wanted to bring this as an opportunity for everybody to come together and have something to give towards. And the idea initially was not just for funds, but also, as Teddy brought up, an opportunity for guys to come back to the campus to mentor these youngsters. I mean, some of you came to the event back in February. You got to see some of our athletes. Some of you have been coming to some of the basketball games and things. So you see, we have young athletes, student athletes who are aspiring to go to college and possibly play there. I know a lot of you guys have, and you know that you have that experience. They would love to have the chance to sit and learn from you guys. I think it's imperative. I was fortunate also to play some college ball, so when I get an opportunity, I love going back and talking to them and telling them like, hey, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. But I think we've all kind of already talked about it, but the time aspect of the time component is way more important than the funds. Obviously, we need funds, but when it comes to, we want to be relational as well. And primarily, we want to be relational. We want to make sure we have a real connection with these young guys and that we're all, helping these youngsters as they grow. A lot, from what I understand, a lot like what Lalo did for you all. So I think that's one way we can definitely honor him outside of just funds.
Great.
Hey, I got a quick question. Right now, as we have the fund set up today, as I understand, the fund is set up. Do we actually have this committee that everyone's saying, or are we aspiring to get a committee in place? And then right now, today, if we make donations today, well, what you just showed, Father Travis, looks like the donation site itself is set up to self-document if we want to restrict the donation. But the donation in a whole goes towards athletics. Athletics, once it's funded, the way that Lalo used to get money from the Lakers through Father James or wherever he went and got money, would take that money and disperse it according to the needs of the program. Am I clear on that right there? Like if we were donating that, all these funds just go towards athletics, and if we don't restrict it, then the athletic director would be the one that would be in charge of meeting a need. But if we do restrict it, the athletic director is also will be the one that would make sure it gets directed where it has to go.
yeah, so that's correct. So the way it works is we have an athletic budget that's just part of that $8 million. That's buses, that's coach stipends, that's yeah, it's just everything. It's just like everything that it takes to go, that's award banquets at the end of the year, the kids to get their awards. just everything like that, and some modest equipment, just to like, so for example, football, 3 years ago, I bought all brand new football equipment or helmets because the helmets were junk. And so, but now I can't afford to buy 40 helmets every time. So now we have to buy like, 8 helmets a year so that I can afford to buy 8 helmets a year. That's a lot cheaper than a $40,000 bill for helmets. So I can do that. So we're just like we need to redo the equipment. When I had Gary there, I was like, man, this is this. He's like, this is old stuff that we when he was coaching there that we used. So like we're on our way to doing that, and we're doing that. But yes, it does go just to athletics. And again, you can even get it even more specific. The athletic director will oversee it, the fund. And I'll just say right now, and this gets more into there right now, is Ken, who's done an amazing job, and I'm really grateful there for 6 years. He's not returning, so we have the position open, and we made it an internal hire. So I mean, I don't want to go speak on beyond that because there's a lot of like HR issues and stuff about that. But I say is like I think that it's going to be someone who knows the school and knows the community and has a vision and can lead that, because I don't have the time to lead that stuff. Like I'm interested in it, but I don't have the time to be a part of it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Is Gary on right now? Keith, is Gary on?
Mm,
Where you at? Because I've been on his ass about getting on this call. Where you at? Because now you're getting called out now. Put up a shutout time, boy. Where you at? All right, so he ain't here. Reason why I'm going to get Gary on, because I want to get a sense for what the actual needs are of the football program. Sorry, I'm an ex-football player, so I'm going to be a little biased right now. But thanks, Father Travis, for clearing up how the overall fund works in general, because that's what I assumed, but I figured that, um, that's what I assumed, but I figured that I'll put it out there and make sure we clarify that up because that's what this call is about.
I
I
also
think
say,
Everett had another question too. Go ahead.
yeah, and I see Coach Keeps on here as well, so he's been familiar. I just say too is like,
Yeah.
I say school's complex. Like, if I go this all in one way, then the teachers are complaining because I don't go in with that. It's just like people always have their interests, so it's complex to manage.
Yes. So as an old football coach myself, and I think Harold running a high school program, some other guys, you have expendable equipment that you have to change every year. You have to redo the helmets every year. Some thigh pads go bad, all these little things that come up, and then they total up to like a good 30, 40,000, sometimes $50,000 bill. Then you have those capital improvements. And that's what I kind of want to address a little bit that Father Travis talked about earlier, is that they've already committed to these things, right? I mean, it would have been very easy after they canceled the football season to just let it go. That'd have been the easiest path of resistance. Um, but they didn't do that. Father Travis and his team got together, made a full commitment, not just, in the idea of running a football program, but actually putting money behind it and supporting and, and getting people to step forward. So I really do have a lot of respect for that. And when he asked me, it was, they were doing they put Lalo's, jersey in the gym, or his, oh my God, banner in the gym. And first time I met Father Travis, and he was just, very excited about it and all for it. And obviously as a family, we respected that. And he asked at that time, I'm thinking about doing this, and, and I agreed. And I texted my brothers and sisters that are still living, but there's Coach Bill, Lalo, Bob. A lot of them have passed. Elio's still around. Ernie and some of those guys. Those were really just great men. I mean, honestly, I know 3 of them are my brothers, but they really were always backing up the football program and the whole athletic program. So when you talk about the Lalo Mendoza Fund, he's also the AD for I don't know how many basketball CIF championships, track championships. I mean, it was somebody that was always there, always available. The rest of us are running our families and stuff like that, and it was just he was always available. So not whenever you're in coaching, there's a old saying there's two kind of coaches, those who've been fired and those who are going to be fired, right? So that's kind of just part of the deal. And Hardy's smiling because he's been through that, and I've been through it. But when you look back on the Lawless tenure at Verbum Dei and Elio and stuff, there's nothing but fond memories. You know, there was moments that weren't great. You know, I can look back at my career at Bosco. Wasn't I mean, I had 20 great years and, maybe, 15 minutes that weren't so great. But the idea that a lot of you are on this call, a lot of you came to the February meeting is really powerful. I'm always impressed because I didn't graduate from Verbum Dei. I know you guys could talk shit later, but I didn't graduate from Verbum Dei. But what I will say is that and I have a really large group of friends that we still get together, but I have never seen like the class of 206 and the class of 1968 being friends, not just coming together, but there are guys from such a wide range that still are socially active with one another. So something happened there. I mean, I don't know if I can directly put my finger on it, but I'm trying to think of some of the old timers' names, but like Cheevers and Philip Henry and those guys all the way down to Shaylin, and so you can see the wide range of Verbum Dei alumni and how really super strong it is. So something magical happened in that time that, from an outsider, has always been very impressive to me. So, but thank you, Father Travers, and the rest of the team for setting this up and making it happen. And it's not for us; it's for the kids that are coming up. One of the greatest things Lalo told me when I became a head football coach, he says, "Don't make it the Bosco that you went to. Make it the best Bosco for those kids that are there." And that's what I always felt like he did every year, trying to make it the best Verbum Dei for you guys in the atmosphere that you were growing up in. I mean, let's not forget there was a lot of shit going on in that neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. So
Yeah.
to make it all happen and all you guys to be so close and love each other so much, it's pretty crazy, pretty amazing.
Yeah. Hey, there's something I wanted to address, and I want to address it because my brother Everett had a deal and said in the chat, he's saying, what's the difference between this administration and previous administration that shut us off for 10 years? The reason why I want to take that, because I'm probably the only alum that played on, that had my last name is in all three of our football championships. So what's the difference? When my son Justin went there, they wanted CIF. All right. My baby boy Dion couldn't get into the school. Right? That's that shutdown that Everett's talking about in this chat. So what's the difference between this administration and previous administrations? Easy. Put up a shut up. All right. For the last 10 years, I've been challenging all the administrations. Hey, stop asking us for photo ops and money, and we haven't sat down and broke bread and had a drink. And everyone has asked us for photo ops and money, except this one. Okay. On top of that, this administration came out and they basically showed their hand, right? We had a little situation that needed to get cleared up. Father Travis stepped up and did a put up a shut up. He put his money where his mouth was and got that situation squashed. And then he went on in order to make moves, which is how our brother Gary Parks ended up as the coach. Gary Parks was on the last CIS football championship team. Okay, so what's the difference between this administration? Put up a shut up. That's it. That's all I can tell you straight up. Because I wasn't on board with none of it October last year. But between November and now, put up a shut up has shown. How? Put up a shut up shown when I give Father Travis a call in January, says, hey man, what do you think about getting alumni together to announce the football program? He said, that's a great idea. And then him and Jesse came on and says, hey, we're gonna feed, let's do some on campus and have some food and some drink. I'm like, whoa, hold on, man. Y'all act like y'all done been at Vert before with that one right there, because ain't no other administration came at us like that. But they did. And then after that, we said, hey, look, let's keep this going. Let's do a monthly Zoom call so that brothers can come and express themselves. Everett, in 10 years, have we had a Zoom call? The answer is no. The answer is no. So when you ask what the difference is, all I can say is look at your screen right now and look at everybody together. This is put up a shut up. This is what it looks like. So with that right there, I'm hoping that we can all put all of our historical pain to rest. We could put band-aids on our wound, put some Kempo, Finico, and some Neosporin, and let them bad boys scab off because the train is going to do a different direction right now. And all I can say is that between Father Travis, Jesse, and Darius, they about it. And they about it because what they doing. And if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be on this call. So I'm hoping that that can settle that with everybody across the board. Because I was the biggest champion on, hey, Verb, just shut down the sports and just go ahead and just educate because y'all not trying to have sports. You can't have sports if you don't have alumni. Alumni is a community. Father Travis ain't on that tip. He on a different tip. So if there's anybody else got any other old stuff that they need to put out there, throw it out there right now. But I'm just giving you my personal experience, Hardy's experience, because we experienced it together. And the reason why we are all 100% in, we ain't paying hokey pokey, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We are all in on supporting Father Travis, Jesse, and Darius and trying to get this thing moving forward because they are serious about us moving forward. In closing, I'm sitting up here, my boy, one of my road dogs, Alan Mayer. Alan Mayer was a senior when me and Hardy were sophomores. We used to have to go up against Alan Mayer, Glenn Simonton every year. Alan Mayer is doing very well right now. His son's at Loyola. Just so happens that he was at the alumni thing the other night. Al's texting me saying, "Hey man, what do you know about this leadership over here?" I'm like, Father Travis, Jesse, and Darius. I says, those my guys, they solid dudes. Okay, cool. Alan does stuff. He does stuff in real estate. He's doing very well, and he's got a lot of resources. So he's like, man, I'm on board now because here I'll just talk to you, and you just said what you told me. Okay. So again, the reason why I want to address this, bro, because I don't want your question not to get answered every, but I had to give you my own personal experience. Not, I ain't giving you no, I don't, you know me, dude. I ain't nobody else's poster child. Right? I ain't nobody else's, okay. But I'm gonna speak on my experience. My experience was strong, which brings my conviction, which gonna bring my passion. And you already know how I get, bro. When I get passionate about this, dude, it's time to go through some walls. So don't get in the way.
Okay. Whatever. I got you.
Okay.
I just want to say too to Harold, thank you. But also we reversed the alum policy of sending your kids. You got anybody, we would love kids, we would love, relatives of kid or of alums. So, that's also we did that when Coach Parks came on. And so yeah, we're you know,
I think Gary joined. Hey Gary, you mind jumping in, man, and kind of giving us an update on the football program and
Come on.
whatever you got going, what you need?
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. I'm handling a church deacons meeting as well, so simultaneously. So I'm working. Again, Father Travis and Jesse and Darius have been phenomenal. Everyone, had a pleasure of just speaking at the gala on this weekend, and it was amazing. I just thank you for the opportunity and trusting and believing me to be able to stand on that stage to do what I do, right? And you didn't have to do that, right? That's a privilege and an honor. So with that, family, it's 100% supportive behind us, guys. Let's get behind this thing. I love what they're doing educationally, academically. Let's go. At the end of the day, I share Harold's sentiment. I'm ready to move forward. I need your support. I need your support. The evidence is before us. You see it. You see it in the dollars. We have everything that we need, gentlemen. They've purchased us a 5-man sled, 2-man sled, tackle wheels, flip sled. I think we spent over 25,000, maybe even more, right? And we haven't even played a game. So get behind the vision. Let's get behind Father Travis and his mission. Let's rally the alumni and let's get this thing moving. And that's all I have to say. Now, at this point, it's up to us to get out to go and find the best fit for Verbum Dei as coaches. It's put up or shut up, right? It's put up or shut up for me and my staff. And so we're ready for the mission. Back over to you, Harold.
I'm good.
Maybe we can move on to the what's coming ahead and what's going. So I I want to share. So as we're continuing to build, first of all, it's not just me who put up or shut up. It's also Gary. He took on an incredibly difficult position, and I'm really, really grateful and indebted to him for doing that. And so the one thing I will ask from this meeting is, we need bodies, we need players, and we need them to come to Verb. So we need you guys out, recruiting and in kids' ears who want to come to Verb. We need you. Go to Verb. Go to Verb. That's what we need you. You guys are all respected leaders in the community, and always the best word of advertising is word of mouth. So we need your mouths open, telling, preaching Verb to every young kid who, because what I also think too is I agree with you is I don't want our young kids to be, I don't want, they deserve the brotherhood that you guys have. And I can't create that on my own. Those are the things money can't buy. And those are everything that money can't buy is the most important stuff in life. And we all know that. So, that brotherhood you can't buy, and I can't create it. So it's generational, it's passed on. And so that's what we need. And we need kids through the doors to build programs. And kids are different these days. They're soft. They're I don't know, they're scared of everything. And most especially they're scared of failure, and they don't even try. So we need kids who are willing to take big risks and put it on the line, just like you all were. So let me just show you what we're up to. So this summer we're going to be remodeling some buildings, and then we're going to be repainting the school. It needs repainted, and then we're going to be doing a field. I want to my goal is to have home games. And so I want Verb to have home games. So next week we're putting up, there's some security stuff going on in the fence because we don't want any, drive-bys or anything like that. We've had that in the past. And so we're putting up some fence things that so we can have safe games. So safety's number one. We've done that. We've put cameras up and all of that. We need to redo the field. So we already have a scoreboard ordered, and we have a quote for a field. We're going to put it in a grass field because, as you all know, it's a tight fit. And if you line your own field, you get to use your own tape measure. So that's why we're putting in a grass field there. So and it's for injury prevention and things like that. So we're going to do that. Although Darius and I and the rest of the development, we're waiting on we're working with the Rams Foundation to perhaps get a gift from them. And then, but we already have the funds secured to do it, but we have to wait for, it's a lot about this is just timing. And so, so that's going to be about a $750,000 investment. And then we want to put lights up, but we can't do lights because there's all kinds of permitting issues, and that takes about 2 years to even get that done. And lights aren't cheap. Lights are another 500,000, but we want lights there because we want kids playing there all night long. And more importantly, we don't want it for the Verb. We want it for Watts. We want a field for Watts. And so we're trying to get, strengthen our partnerships with like Watts Rams and things like that. So these organizations. So let me just share my screen one more time, and I'll show you some of the designs and plans we have for the campus. And we're working right now. We're in a silent phase of trying to raise the funds. So let me just show you guys this. And
So, Father Travis, can I ask a question?
yeah,
So our old field from the '80s, '70s, and the '90s is considered Gopher Stadium. So, are you going to be able to mitigate that Gopher situation to help prevent the injuries?
I don't know. I mean, the guy we're hiring did Pepperdine's field. So like we're buying special mowers and stuff like that. What I'm told is that if you do have good maintenance, all that stuff takes care of itself. But it's about we haven't ever done good maintenance to it. So I don't know. I guess we'll just poison them, or I don't know what we'll do with the Gophers, but yeah. It's also strategic advantage. We know where the holes are. So we just, you know.
Exactly.
Call it
Midfield.
the verb bounce. Um, so here's the master plan of the campus. You guys, the 100 rings will be gone eventually. And we want an outdoor amphitheater, so we don't have any plays to do plays or anything like that. But we figure we can use a little bit of senior square to be an outdoor amphitheater and be the focus and still preserve some of the senior square in the back. But what you notice, I think, is most important, all the pathways are circulator, is that everything comes out of the chapel. That's the compass for everything. And I'm a strict believer that our faith makes us who we are. And so that's ultimately that's the most important building on Capel in campus is that chapel. And so everything is directed towards that. This new building you see here is going to be a science and technology building. And this is what you'll see. And here's the field, the same position, same everything, just everything new on it. And you'll see here is the building and the parking lot looking out onto Nickerson and Garden and all of that area. Yeah, and our let's see, this is the front of that building looking out onto Senior Square there. And we'll open back up that gym a little bit, the old gym. And so that's where we're doing. So the first two buildings will be that we're doing this summer. These are the colored ones here, images. Let me just scroll through here. Well, anyways, I don't have but we're doing where, I don't know what you guys called it, but we're calling it's the center where the old library used to be. And so we're going to be redoing that really nice. And one of the things that we want to call it is the Joseph Francis Center, because Father Joseph Francis was the first principal of Verbum Dei, but he was also the first African American principal of any Catholic school in the country and became the fourth African American bishop in this country. And he wrote a very important document on civil rights and racial justice back in the 80s when that wasn't the cool thing to do. So he was kind of a prophetic voice on that. So we want to be able to honor his legacy as well.
Can I chime in and say something? I don't know if you can see me. I'm working right now.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Elio Mendoza. I'm class of 70. And I want to thank you for what I heard so far. And Father, about 5 minutes ago, you made an important comment that I don't know if it happened at the very beginning, but you said that all the Verbum Dei alumni kids, children are welcome to Verbum Dei. I'm happy to hear that because, that caused a lot of pain over the years. Also, the drawings that you put up for the future buildings and the facilities at Verbum Dei, I think is wonderful. One thing that came to mind was, do we have a community liaison with the Nickerson Gardens? You said you're doing it for Verbum Dei, but also for Watts. So who is reaching out to the community? Who is speaking to them and talking about the wonderful things that are happening and will continue to happen at the Verb?
I say that's a good question, and that's what we need. Relying on the people we have, especially Gary. And so we want to grow. We do partner with some people. We have like Nick's Kids, which is LAPD has a lot of programming in there. They do a lot of good community work. I will say that. I know there's controversy around that, but they do a good work. There's a guy named Mark May who has a Project Blue, which is a nonprofit that does the Watts Rams and stuff. He but just last year, I would just say last year for Earth Day, one of our board members, he owns IRS Demo, which is a big construction company in LA, and he has these big drop boxes. We put them not just in Nickerson, we put them in Jordan, we put them in all four of the projects because we didn't want to just say we were there just for Nickerson. So we dropped them off everywhere, and we did cleanup, and they could bring their TVs, their old couches, whatever they wanted to throw away, they could throw away. And we hauled off all the garbage and trash, kind of a spring cleaning thing for Nickerson. But I would say that one of the things I think Verbum Dei can add, and I'll let Darius jump in. He's been working on this a little bit as well. Is we're also a safe place to come. We have security. We don't also have the politics of they build those fields in there and stuff, but a lot of times those gyms just set empty because there's no one there to open them up and let the kids just play on there. So they don't have they have the nice facilities, but they don't have the programming. So yeah, we do need that community outreach though. And you guys should be a part of it too. I mean, you guys know people.
Hey, let me jump in on that. Rico, is Rico on? Martin? Oh, all right. Because Rico's already doing stuff in all the projects right now. Like literally doing stuff. Like I'm working with him on a few like bringing drone flying and stuff to all the projects what he's doing. So
And I was going to mention that, Harold, that, utilizing this alumni group to
yeah,
to help each other do the outreach as far as being the community liaison. So
yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, but check this out. Coach Elio don't realize he might have nominated himself as the president of that. Because Coach Elio was the one that first started taking on some of these community runs through each of those doggone projects before we have football practice.
Right.
So, Coach Elio, I think it's about time we get back in shape and start doing some more community runs. What you think?
Yeah, I think so, man. It's like Father said. Time was everything, and it's time.
Yep.
But I'm interested. I like what I'm hearing. I know you guys have been talking to Kiki a lot, and I appreciate Kiki, my little brother. But yeah, so we're gonna stay in touch. I like what I hear overall. I saw my buddy Phil Henry, batters running back at Verbum Day, a class of '70, jump on. So we'll reach out to our brothers, and to the rest. So thank you.
There it is. And Coach L, don't forget every second Saturday of the month, man. That's what we're targeting to keep these going every month.
God, it's almost like the 1st and the 15th, dog.
There it is. That part right there.
So, Father Travis, I have a question for you. As the building get ready to begin, what type of construction management do you have to oversee the construction to make sure that these general contractors and subcontractors are not trying to take advantage of you guys on change orders and things of that nature?
Good question. So that's me because one of our biggest gift that was given is by the Shea. I don't know if you know Shea Homes, Shea Construction, giant. And so one of the things that they made a condition on their gift is that we would project manage it. Usually they do. So that we're project managing it along with our architect. But again, there's a guy on our board, Carlos Herrera, who he grew up in the area. I mean, Carlos will tell you he got a seventh grade education, School of Hard Knocks, and a PhD in getting shit done. And so like he's I wouldn't mess with Carlos, and so he has a huge IRS demo. You'll see it around Los Angeles.
Okay.
And so he's the one he's kind of the person who knows that world who's helping us. Yeah.
Okay. If you need help with that, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis for healthcare.
Okay. Yeah.
Up here in the Bay Area. So I deal with so much here in Alameda County, San Francisco County, San Joaquin County, Sacramento County. So I'm willing to coordinate with Carlos to give him some extra help on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Omar.
Yeah, I have a question real quick.
Always.
And I know we've talked about a lot. I'm a guy like systems. I want to know next steps. So first of all, do you have currently like opportunities for parents and kids to tour the campus? Are there opportunities for that to happen? Because as alumni, the easiest way for us is to push people in that direction and say, hey, there's a tour on Tuesday night. There's a tour on Saturday. Would you like an invitation to it? That's one thing, because I think one of the problems is like parents want to hear about the next step. And I think Verb does a great job at that selling college, but not necessarily from an athletic standpoint. And a lot of parents, the type of athletes you're trying to get and we need in the program, the parents are going to want to know, like, do you guys have a D1 program that's going to get my kid to the next level? I think the academic part, the experience, the corporate work study program, we do a fantastic job with that. But I think parents need to hear about and feel comfortable, like even considering Verbum Day, because we know how like college athletics is now. It's a moneymaker for a lot of kids, a lot of parents. It changes the whole landscape for a kid's future. So I think introducing the Verb and letting them know and having them feel comfortable about what Verb is able to do to help shape kids in that athletic realm is also important. So I think a tour would be a great opportunity for that to happen. And I would like to like reach out to alumni and say, hey, maybe we could be a part of that engagement. We can talk about it from a experience standpoint. We can talk about it from a historical standpoint. Coach Gary has coached kids that actually gone and played at the college level. Getting them to feel comfortable with that is important. There are a couple of kids at Curtis Middle School I'm trying to get right now to consider Verb, and one of them is hung on. There's no girls there. I'm like, dude, don't worry about that. You're going to have that in life, but a kid who was already considering some of the other schools around, we got to get them on campus and let them see the full Verb experience and the potential for him to come there and really thrive academically, athletically, socially, and then also in his faith. So, are there opportunities for parents to tour right now? If not, how can we set it up in a way where alumni could be a part of that engagement? Whether it's helping get parents and kids there, or in addition to that, are being a part of the process when they get there. I think that says a lot when you see alumni and their parents can then see, I'm going to help get my kid on this trajectory. So if you guys can respond to that, I think that will definitely be helpful.
No, Teddy, that's a great question. So to answer the first part about the tours, those are available now. So anybody interested in the school, they can go online. We have it set up already where they can schedule a tour. I'm not sure what the platform is, but we have it on our website where they're able to schedule a tour, and then I can reach out because that comes to our department. Travis also has access to it, and I believe Jesse does as well. We have people touring the school pretty often. So we can bring alumni to help us with the tours if necessary. If y'all want to be a part of it, that won't be a problem. And to answer your second question about how do we, I don't think the word is recruit anymore because of the state of California, but attract some of these stellar athletes. Um, right now, do we have I think we have the coaching staff that knows what to do with with a top tier athlete, right? But because of the lack of success in the prior years, I don't think it's going to be necessarily easy to attract those guys automatically off the bat, right? But I think we're putting the things in place like hiring a Gary, like having an undefeated season for our basketball team this past year. Those things are going to help us attract some of these really great athletes, student athletes. And of course, having you guys there will definitely help us as well. So we're more than happy to have you guys around and helping us in that regard. I mean, that's part of the reason why we want to have this call. We want you guys included. We want you guys to be on campus. I'm happy to see my older brothers on campus, you know. So I think it's necessary. And I think, now we probably have the most amount of alumni ever to work on Verb's campus. I think we have about if we include coaches, I think we have about 10, 11 alumni on campus on a day-to-day basis. I'm not sure if that was your experience when you were a student, but I know I didn't have that. So I think it's imperative that we keep moving. I hope
Thanks
that
for that. And I was thinking maybe there's a time for us to, I think the exclusivity of like handing the invitation to say, hey, we only got 50 spots. I think when a tour is wide open, it doesn't create this urgency. Like I need to be there on this day for that. And I think if we've identified young people that might be a good fit for Verb,
Mhm.
I think it's not an easy push, like just to say, hey, we have tours all the time. I think we maybe create a special opportunity for them to come and create this sense of urgency. Like this is a
Yeah,
special invitation because I heard you're looking for this, and I think this school might be a good fit for you.
Sure.
But you got to sign up by today. Your mom and dad, or guardian parent has to come. And I think we're going to go a whole process. But I think the important part of that is linking in the college aspect of it. Like parents coming in, think about an eighth grade parent coming in, like and hearing things like, if your kid took Algebra 1 in eighth grade, we recommend that they might take it again because we know NC2A qualifications got to have 3 years of math. You come in want to take geometry, we're going to push you to pre-calculus. If you're not really that great in math, so there's things like that that parents need to hear. So
Mhm.
it's almost like a part of an NC. We used to do this at a school that I was at. I used to do a presentation. It was like an NC2A like night where eighth grade parents come and get informed on how to set your kid up for success prior to
Sure.
them even stepping on a high school campus. So that was a part of the tour, and we engaged the entire community. We sent it out to the middle schools, elementary schools, so anybody who wanted to come can
Mhm.
have this experience, and that really drove, I think, the interest. Like, okay, so they're not just thinking about when my kid gets to campus. They're in the eighth grade now. Let's try to like set them up for success. We had counselors that were also there talking about it. So I think those type of things create this sense that this is a special experience. When it's a
Hey,
wide
hey,
open
Matt. Hey,
tour, I
Matt.
think it's a little bit more challenging.
Hey, Matt. Check this out. What
Yeah,
you just gave me an idea, bro. Let's mean you work on putting together a page for that just for the alumni, so we can have it ready for the community. We
let's
ain't got to
do it.
put them to school. We can just take that off their plate.
Let's do it. It could be on a
Because
weeknight. It could be on a
you already
Saturday
got
morning. We can
you
do
already
that.
got the content. So let's just take that content of what you just said and make
Okay,
that available.
let's
Oh,
pick a date and
oh,
do it.
one thing I want to say too is that there's no prize for going to college. It's only prize if you graduate college.
Mm,
So
Go to that.
everybody go to college. Well, I don't really care if you go to college. I only care if you graduate college, because if you go to college and you have debt or whatever, you're worse off. You should have never even gone to
Start
school.
our own football league on the weekend.
So one of the things that I would say is that we do have a lot of scholarships. We have, like, I think, 4 endowed scholarships at Notre Dame right now. Like, our kids get amazing packages going. I'm on a university board. NIL money, you're right. All of it has changed. But one of the things, I think there is a spot for Verbum Dei, because there'll always be the modern days and stuff like that. But I know on the board I'm on, it costs $5 million a year if you want to make the tournament in basketball right now. That's a $100 million endowment you have just to make the NCAA tournament every year. That's how much money's coming into college sports right now. So, like, it's nobody knows what's going to go on. But what I do know is, your 5-star recruits aren't necessarily the most successful recruits or players once they get to college. So, we don't need to get the top, because those aren't those kids. If they're pushed hard, they'll they're going to be the diamond in the rough. And that's what everybody's looking for now, because it's just so costly to go buy. I mean, you're just basically a professional sports team if you're just going for the top all the time. So, and Hardy probably knows this better than all of us, being coach and program. So
Thanks, Travis. I do want to acknowledge Edison, the time really quick. We're a few minutes after 11. I know we scheduled this to go from 10 to 11, so if there are folks that need to hop off, we're going to go ahead and start landing the plane. Hardy, I know you came off mute really quick. I'll hand the mic to you, and then we'll start landing the plane.
Oh, thank you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Father Travis, thank you for your words today and being transparent with us. I think that's huge. For to kind of echo what my big brother Harold talked about a little bit earlier, we've as alums have been wanting to figure out how can we help Verb, and I think you guys have kind of given some clear parameters on and action items that we can act on. Um, uh, I do have a question about the do you have like a because if alums if if as you look at the like for example you look at the Lalo Mendoza Fund, if you don't have the money, maybe you know somebody that has the money to give. Um, do you have like a pitch deck or something like that that we can take and maybe you can give it to us and even pass on to other individuals or businesses that we come in contact with?
yeah, we can get you those resources. I'll put Darius on that. I
Hmm.
want to say too, and I know this is, again, you can do it or you can't. A lot of times Darius and I are meeting with individuals. They would love to meet you, and you guys are I mean, you're the product. That's what we're selling. And so if you would be willing to go on meetings with us, people would love to meet you who, very high capacity donors. And so that's another way that you can get involved is just being able to talk with them and say, this is what a Verbum Dei education does. And like we don't now here, the proof is in the pudding. So that's another way that you guys could get involved is, we do have some relationships with people. And so that's another thing. And that's all over the country. So if you're in another part of the country, we have donors who, in their area, maybe you'd be willing to go to lunch with us and just talk about the school and the experience and the impact it had on your life.
Mhm.
Because that's ultimately what they're giving for. They don't know the school, they don't know the people, but they do know when they hear stories of transformation, that's what they want to invest in. So
Mhm.
yeah, but we'll certainly get you some.
Also, you can if you can let me know on on a few,
Yeah,
when those
absolutely.
opportunities come up, I'd
Yeah,
be more than willing to jump on with you.
thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Hardy. Edison, do you have any closing remarks before I?
Yeah, the only thing I want to close with is first of all, Father Travis, thank you. Jesse, Darius, thank you guys, big time. And I think this has been a very, very, very productive and positive first alumni call. I think we got a lot of things accomplished. Um, Going forward, all these calls are recorded, right? I just put in the chat the address to the Verb Alumni YouTube channel, where we're just gonna post these calls up. There are guys like, Danny Bakewell is doing a ribbon cutting right now up in Monterey. But Father Travis, I spoke to him last week about my experience with you guys. He's making plans to come and see you directly and throw support with you directly. Ironically, Alan Mayer couldn't be on a call today because his wife is actually meeting with the Herrera family. They have a relationship with the Herrera family. So ironically, that's already taken place, right? I think Carl's got a chance to meet Alan, and that they hit it off, right? And so things like that are already happening. So I think what Jesse says is spot on, right? Originally, the stars are aligning right now. This is what it looks like. We have some pain points. I think we've addressed those and put those to rest. I like the comments that Elio brought in, the fact that he recognized the same thing that Hardy I recognize, which is that you guys want us back and we want to come back, and this is what it's going to look like going forward. So with that, I want to say thank you so much. Teddy McMillan, me and you got some homework to do, brother. We got some put up a shut up items to get going, and then we'll go on the schedule. I'll call for next week, and I'll hand it off to you, Jesse. You're going to close this out.
And I'll drop this. I shared this with Edison last time. Like with any relationship, there's going to be curveballs. And one of the things I told Edison is if there's something, a concern, a rumor, anything, come to us
Yeah,
so we can speak on it.
yeah.
Please. It's so important for me that we assume positive intent, that
Hmm.
everyone assumes positive intent, and we pick up the phone and we call and we text. Shout out to Edison that I think embodies that leadership quality. Great. And I encourage all of you, if there's something you all hear that is sitting kind of sideways with you, please reach out either to Darius, myself, Travis. We all put our stuff aside to address anything that, because this is such a special relationship that we understand we're rebuilding. And it takes so much time to build some strong, but life is really unfair sometimes. All it takes is one little thing, and you may lose some folks along the way. We don't want that to happen because there's a lot of people working hard to do this the right way. So if you hear something that's concerning or something you want to give us a heads up about, our blind spots, let us know so that we're on the same team and we're assuming positive intent. Darius, I know you had something to share, and
Sure.
then we'll go from there.
Um, Honestly, I just want to echo everybody else's comments. I think this was an incredible meeting. I love where we're going. The last thing I wanted to mention is that we have Commitment Day coming up at the start of May, May 2nd. And I think it would be incredible if we could have a group of alumni, in attendance, supporting our young brothers who are about to graduate. For those who don't know, Commitment Day is the day all of our students, all of our seniors, they walk across the stage and they announce where they're going to school. It's honestly, to me, the biggest moment, the biggest moment of the year, the biggest event of the year. More important than the gala because this is what everybody is doing the work for. This is what we want to see, right? So if you guys could, come be on campus, just be yourselves and see the young guys. I think it'd be a great opportunity for both parties. So I'll make sure that everyone receives the email with the invite, with the flyer, everything. There will be a opportunity RSVP. We're gonna have some snacks prior to a little toast, if you will. But would love to have you guys in attendance. That's all I have to say.
What time is that, Darius?
It's going to start at 11:30, the actual event, but we're going to have a pre-reception around 10:30, if I'm not mistaken. But all of those details will be in the email, the flyer, the RSVP, all of that.
Thanks, Darius. And Hardy will put together some literature for you that you requested. We've got an athletics admission stuff brewing as well. We've got the May 2nd invite, and there'll be some other invitations that will come up in an email. So
And I'll just say too, is like we're working on some of this stuff, So I know we want to get a committee together. There's something about a golf tournament. We would love to put a golf tournament together just to get together and hang out and drink beers and stuff and just celebrate. So yeah.
I just want to recognize, I think Rico Martin is on. Rico, you want to speak up for a second?
Hey, man, I mean, this is great. I mean, I'm over here getting chill bumps, man. I got on at the end and I apologize. I'm running the camp as well as being a father right now. So, yeah, I like what I'm hearing so far, and I'll get with the guys and T-Mac, you and Harold, I'll get with y'all and kind of do the up. But appreciate you, Father, for just extending your hand to have us back around. I just want to make sure it never gets and make sure it gets lost, so we never have to go through this or rebuild again. But overall, I'd like to say thank you, Father, and your staff for doing a great job of getting us together.
thanks, Coach Rico. All right, Edison, thanks again for providing the space, the Zoom, the link. Appreciate you, fellas. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next month.